when we do it this early,
Yeah.
the filtering in period does help me wake up a little bit.
There we go. It's the filtering in period. Welcome to the filtering in period to help Mike wake up. How we doing, buddy?
Okay.
6:30 a.m. Pacific time. We're recording just like the old days.
Just like the old days.
Yeah. Old days, I actually think it was earlier than that in the old days. Maybe it was in the 5s for the old days.
Yeah. I think it was like 6 even. So I would have to wake up a little earlier. But I was a young man.
Yeah.
Living with Andrew Sharp. And
hungrier, I would say.
Hungrier. Yeah. Yeah.
So
definitely not hungry anymore. I'm so full. I'm deeply full.
I'm very sweaty because I just finished running and I can't cool down. So anyone who's watching this on YouTube, you're getting the sweat version of me. So here we go. We're live. The Rice to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook. Download their top-rated app. Use promo code RTRS. And brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours. BigBarker.com/Ricky. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rice to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process, and Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, Sixers schedule comes out. We will break down every single game and whether they think we'll win or lose, and we will come with a final record for the Sixers. When we should do Fly the Process based on the schedule. JJ Redick doing a live show for his podcast, and we have 20 tickets to give away to this sold-out show and a full Ask Me Anything segment. We've done over Reddit and email. Now we have Twitter questions. And the Sixers reportedly... Oh, sorry. That's my running app. 5, 6 miles. The Sixers reportedly lay off a bunch of people to, quote, cut costs, and we will address that as well. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef, I think.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here.
Say the name. I say the name. I say the name.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rice to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who demands our podcast start earlier and earlier every time. That is Mike Levin.
Hello.
Yo.
Here
we are. So before we get going with the schedule, there was I don't like to, I'm usually sensitive now about criticizing reporters and media members, given that I am in the media. However, there was a report yesterday from Keith Pompey that the Sixers cut 17 staff members, and he repeatedly said in cost-cutting moves. Scouts, the Blue Coats GM, Matt Lilly, and included in which was Scott Rigo, who is the equipment manager and been there 34 years. For full clarity, a friend of mine, friend of my dad's, good guy, Scott Rigo, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, pretty beloved as far as equipment managers go.
Great dude. I can't imagine there is a person in the NBA who has a longer run of having that job than Scott. So at some point, and I want to separate this from like the report from Scott, because I do not know the deal with Scott. I can't imagine he did anything but an amazing job. I have to imagine that if they're going to get rid of him, they should at least there should be some sort of fucking ceremony or something. Like, it should be on great terms. It should not be in a report like this. So I hope to find out more. I just can't imagine a world in which that's okay. However, the other stuff. At a certain point, Keith Pompey has to start not just taking everything that somebody tells him and immediately putting it on the internet, without any filter at all. And I'm not a journalist, but I do understand the general tenets of journalism. And it can't just be one person tells you something and then you write an article on it. So like most of the jobs, first of all, there weren't 17 jobs that were cut. Most of the jobs that most of the people that lost their job at the Sixers yesterday were like Daryl Morey got here during the weirdest offseason ever. It was a short offseason. They didn't get rid of really anybody. Everybody has like a year to show what they're worth. And then eventually, like in every place, people bring in their own people. Most of these jobs are going to be replaced. Like as far as like cost cutting goes, you know, we did see once at the beginning of the pandemic, the whole 20% thing, but like the Sixers have never been shy about having like 87 people on their basketball ops operation. Like, that is a bullshit report. Like the article he wrote is bullshit. The way that he framed it is bullshit. He didn't do any homework at all. Didn't ask anybody anything. So like, I just like, and then everybody online is just so quick to just fucking hammer. And truth be told, the Sixers have done a lot of shitty things. Like the first to obliterate them. We've obliterated them a lot. But at least know what you're talking about. And we will see another GM of the Bluecoats. We will see, and God, like Matt Lilley was nice to us when we met him. Probably a good guy. I don't know if he did a good job or not. These scouts, they're not going to have no scouts. Like Daryl Morey wants scouts. Like they will have a giant look. They basically hired a head of basketball ops, Dinwiddie, and then they were like, "Oh, we got Morey. We'll just keep everyone." Right? Like they have no problem spending money on that. So it's just like eventually, Keith, like. Everything that everybody tells you isn't true all the time. And you should just make a second phone call at some point. So that's the Scott Rigo thing. Like when I find out more, I will happily say more. But the rest of it is like nonsense. So
yeah, it's a little weird. Like they're not going to not have a GM of the Bluecoats.
Yeah, they're not going to not have scouts. They're not going to like what are we talking about?
It's not going to be like George Niang doing the equipment manager on the side.
Right.
I do think though there is, I guess, a world where there's still like, hey, these guys have been around too long. Their salary is, you know, in their mind bloated for what they're delivering here. Sort of similar to what happened when like Molly got replaced. Like she didn't do anything that
not a Sixers employee though.
Not a Sixers employee. Yeah. Not a Sixers employee, but the similar deal where it's like, well, we're now paying this person more than we feel like they deserve, which is wrong. And then we'll just replace it with someone that costs less.
But I don't think that's what happened.
You don't think that's what happened with any of these things?
No, I think and I'm not like, I know that sometimes I present things as like, I'm not source guy. I've never been source guy, but like when I talk about these things, I'm talking to the listener, not to you. Like I am relatively informed and my general feel on this, given what I know, is there's no accident that Morey is now here with his former CEO, you know, and they will shape the organization in their image. And to be honest with you, like I don't think eventually that won't get to Doc. You know, like I think that if Daryl Morey's going to do the job here, Daryl Morey's going to want his people. It's just sort of like what happens when you have a job like this. You want to mold an organization. You want to get in there, see what everyone's made of, keep the people you like, and then replace the people that you don't think are up to the task. And I guess it's not impossible what you said, but I don't think it's the case.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't disagree with what you were saying. Tad's gonna do what Tad's gonna do. It's just a Tad type move.
Tad's a money guy.
It's everything we know about him. Yeah, he's just replacing Scott Rigo with Ticketmaster, and we'll see how they do handling out towels and shit. It remains to be seen.
Let's see how good Ticketmaster does when they trade for somebody one night and they need a jersey the next day. How are you going to do that, Ticketmaster? Right. So, but I would like to say I love Scott Rigo. Scott Rigo is just one of the, like, for a non, profile position, not in basketball ops, not in the media, just loved by everyone, including me. I hope he's all right. And I can't imagine he did anything but an amazing job. So if they were shitheads for that, sure that will be in a future pod.
It does feel like there's like we are in a period of turnover, kind of across the board, with Zumoff not coming back and no announcements or even hinting at who's going to replace that. I haven't seen, at least. Who's going to replace Mark Zumoff as play-by-play? Scott Rigo now. Brian Seltzer announced that he's moving on from the Sixers.
To our company, to my company. Congratulations to Brian, who will now work for KYW News Radio and Odyssey. So welcome, Brian.
It just feels like, I don't know. It's not, maybe this is Tad, maybe this is Daryl, maybe it's just like I'm fucking tired of this goddamn team, which I get, but it does feel like we're in a weird transition-y type period.
Before we get to the schedule, Big Barker Dog Beds, I mentioned them last pod. We love Big Barker Dog Beds. They will be a sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez Bark in the Park run team, which is now live. So will By Nature Pet Foods. If you join the team now and raise at least $75, you get the Bark in the Park, the special Ricky shirt. Your dog should be sleeping on a Big Barker Dog Bed. Your dog, if you love your dog, I'm looking at you right now. Do you love your dog? Do you care about your dog? Do you want your dog to be healthy? Your dog should have a real bed. Imagine you sleeping on a piece of shit bed. You feel terrible in the morning. That's what happens to your dog. They just can't tell you because they're dogs. Big Barker Dog Beds prevent the effects of arthritis. They keep younger dogs energetic. Older dogs, they keep comfortable, keep energetic for longer. Big Barker, this is proven by PennVet, a study by PennVet. BigBarker.com/Ricky. BigBarker.com/Ricky. If your dog had an equipment manager, would get him a Big Barker. Big Barker for any size, the little one, the Big Barker Jr., up to the giant one for like a Great Dane or some shit. BigBarker.com/Ricky. You get the Big Barker Dog Bed. You also get 2 processed pup patches. So you can brand your Big Barker Dog Bed as the official Ricky one. And you can make your dog an official processed pup. Love Big Barker, been a supporter of ours for years, also supporting the Providence Animal Center Bark in the Park Run team. Love Big Barker. A 10-year warranty, the foam doesn't flatten, or they replace it for free. 1-year at-home trial, give you a full refund, even pay for the shipping if you don't like it. Made in the USA. Big Barker Dog Beds. All right, the schedule comes out. 4 preseason games. 2 of them against Toronto, starting October 4th, which, Mike, I don't know if you agree with this. Seems too soon. I'm not ready for October 4th, right?
Very soon. It does feel like in normal off seasons, obviously not last year, there's like several months of just being like, how the fuck are we going to get through this fucking thing? Oh my God.
Right. But then it's over.
Yeah. But I'm saying it feels we don't have any of that. Maybe September will be stupid. There's some guests that I want to have on in September that we gotta get to. But that's very, very soon. Very, very soon. And especially because like the off seasons, it hasn't been like a calm off season. It's just sort of like the off season hasn't even really happened yet because we're still waiting for the big trade.
Yeah, maybe we should start after. I know you're out next weekend. Maybe we should start packing in the guests right before that, before like a Ben trade happens, and have a little fun. Have a little like pandemic era Ricky fun. Yeah, it was funny when I was looking through old pods for some reason. I was looking at our schedule, and like July through September, there was like 1 pod every 3 weeks in the first few years because there's nothing to talk about. And now it seems like the combination of the pod developing, but also the league is now such a 12-month-a-year league. It's hard to skip any months. But yeah, if they could push it back 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, I would love it. The games are now the tickets are now on Ticketmaster rather than StubHub. So they went from one predatory ticketing company to another. So congratulations to that. Good work, Tad. At least we're wiping off the stink of Scott O'Neill in that. So
wiping off the stink will be what Ticketmaster does as the equipment manager.
Right?
We have to keep that in mind.
Cut costs, right? So I got the email from Joe from Fans of Philly immediately about Fly the Process. The two leading ones, because I got to wait till after football season as usual. The 2 leading ones are March 5th in Miami and March 27th in Phoenix. I think the problem with March 5th in Miami is spring break and the cost of it. The only other possibility that seems hilarious would be if Ben ends up in Minnesota, going to Minnesota again in February 25th for the Ben trip to Minnesota, but it would have to happen soon. They all sound like fun trips, right? Miami or Phoenix. They're both good. We could find Jerry Colangelo's house, egg it or something if we went to Phoenix.
Hard to imagine fly the process happening, but God bless Joe for doing his thing.
Oh, he does. I mean, he's got Eagles trips. Yeah, I don't.
Can't stop him.
No, can't stop him. There is a couple of stretches I wanted to mention. There's not much you can talk about. I was like, we'll talk about the schedule. I look at it. It's like, what the fuck are we going to talk about?
They're playing the games.
Yeah,
turns out. No
order.
new expansion teams. No surprise.
Yep.
No weird Hall of Fame game. There should be more of those kinds of weird games. Why not?
Yeah,
I guess teams want to have their home arena and get their snacks, get their snacks money in.
Yeah,
but it'd be fun if there were more like play it like, I don't know. There should be like the Pacers should play it like Hinkle Fieldhouse sometimes. Just like play it like these iconic gyms from time to time. It'd be fun.
Well, I think, the Major League Baseball Field of Dreams game, great example of it. The hockey, whatever the fuck they call it, where they play in a baseball stadium or something during the winter. I remember I wrote a thing when I first started at WIP about like them doing a blacktop game
Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be amazing.
It would be very cool.
It would be amazing. Now, obviously, you'd have to do it in warm weather city, but because of when the basketball season happens. But man, it would be so cool.
At least a preseason game.
Yes. Cool. Imagine the look of it. It would be incredible. Imagine a Rucker Park game if they played it like an NBA game at Rucker. It would, the coverage of that would melt like basketball coverage. Everybody would be in on it,
I also think specifically the Hall of Fame game, the field itself, like once you zoomed out and saw how cool it was, like it was extremely dope, but like the playing field itself felt a little too normal to me. I wanted it to feel a little bit more old-timey
on the playing field, maybe?
Yeah, or just like the bases should be just like bags of sand, like nothing, just like bags of flour or something. I think like we talked about this with Daryl on his spaces that we did, but there should be more variety in basketball courts. There should be there should be stuff. It shouldn't just be like the holograms of the sponsors and everything else is exactly the same. Like mix it up. This one, like the court is a little bit longer. This one has like a weird sideline, like a funky thing. Like why? What are we doing? There should be different stuff. It shouldn't just be I'm now pandering to you, but it shouldn't just be Denver that has like the one difference in any arena, and the fact that it's like the air is different. Like
right.
There should be more like arena to arena changes.
Every place should have an unfair advantage type thing.
I think that's right. I think that's right. Like the nets the rims should be like a foot lower in Philly. So Embiid can just dunk whenever he wanted.
Right.
That should be the benefit.
There are two stretches that I noted as particularly potentially difficult stretches. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck to say it. November 13th through the 24th is all road. Indy, Indy, Utah, Denver, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State. Seems like a particularly rough stretch.
Yeah. No back-to-backs in there, but that is a strangely long road trip before the Disney on Ice road trip.
Correct.
For them to go through.
Maybe there's going to be a rodeo in Philly, like in San Antonio. Maybe it's the rodeo road trip. Mm-hmm. And then March 18th through March 29th, at home for Dallas, Toronto, Miami, then at Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, and then home against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like that's a fucking gauntlet, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have to play everybody. To me, they're gonna have to do it. It turns out the schedule makers, they've done it again. It feels like there's always that. There's always the Sixers have the long road trip sometimes too, and then the March oh fuck time, and then April was always like totally okay. It's the Pistons 14 times.
Yep.
And that's I wonder what as a team, I would guess that they probably would rather have the tests earlier in the season. These kinds of things like having to wait till March, but maybe once they're healthy after the trade deadline, then this is the all right, this is a real test for us type of thing. Like playoff atmosphere before we dial it down for the last couple weeks and make sure we can just get the seed we want.
Yep, I agree. So once again, Sixers will play full schedule. That is the
Yep.
plan. All the teams. They'll play all the teams once again.
On sanctioned basketball courts for some reason.
I guess I do have to address this in that I know I will be called a sellout for a lot of reasons, and it is totally deserved. But at WFAN this week, Craig Carton had 3 commissioners on his show for extended like co-host things: Manfred, Bettman, and and Adam Silver, and Dave Silver. And Dave was in studio, and I was the one that had to bring him from downstairs to the studio. And Dave Silver was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was me.
I didn't know that. You texted me that he was there, but
yeah,
I didn't know that there was a walk involved.
Oh yeah. Like I had to meet with his everybody involved with him was very good. The security guy, really awesome, all that kind of stuff. But and I didn't do anything about it. I couldn't. It was Craig's thing, and every once in a while I have to be a professional and a manager, and Silver was very cordial to me. I can't imagine he hasn't been briefed on me at some point, but it was very cordial and nice, and he did a great interview and was very honest, even though he really fucked the Sixers several years ago. And I've said a lot of bad things about him, but I didn't do anything about it. I didn't call him Dave. I did, when I called him Adam, think for a second about what his name actually was, because I confuse it sometimes, but I didn't do anything, and I know I'm a total sellout, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I think you should issue a formal apology to Mike Weber.
Yeah.
A guy who did put his money where his mouth is and threatened getting maybe jailed at the Wells Fargo Center for confronting Adam Silver on the stairs. But yeah, look, it's clear where your loyalties lie, and it's to your job and not to harassing professionals.
Well, here's what I'll say about Weber, though. If Weber talks shit about, like, I don't know, fucking Steven Spielberg a bunch, like, I make shitty movies, yada, 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 and then he met Steven Spielberg, there's no way Weber would, like, crush him.
Wow, even just hearing Spike compare Adam Silver to Steven Spielberg is just remarkable. Like the heel turn you've done on your own podcast. Unbelievable.
It's been a long heel turn. It's been a several year heel turn. So JJ Redick has a podcast, and the podcast is called Old Man and the Three. And they're doing a live show September 22nd at the Bell House in Brooklyn. The proceeds, quote, will benefit a local charity. The tickets are sold out, but we have managed to come across 20 tickets to the JJ Redick live pod in Brooklyn. I will be there. You are welcome if you could make it, Mike. But with the rest of the 19 of the tickets, we have to find a way to give them to Ricky listeners so they could join me at the Bell House to watch JJ's live pod. I'm so excited that we came across 20 tickets. Of course, we will support their, quote, local charity, and we will find a way to double the support for our local charity. So we're doing twice the good. We'll actually name our local charity. So Mike, any ideas of how we give these out?
Are you planning on like heckling him at the podcast, a live podcast?
I would never do something like that. Like, I have a respect for the live show. I have a respect for the live show. All I want to do is have a good time in Brooklyn and watch JJ's live pod.
Wow.
Any ideas?
Brooklyn resident, Spike Askin,
Jersey resident,
travels down the street to heckle fellow professional.
I would never heckle. I'm not a heckler. I mean,
how do you want this to go?
I don't want it to go anyway. I want to go watch JJ Redick with 19 Ricky listeners.
And then not be acknowledged by JJ and then walk away.
Look, you've been to Fly the Process with me. I am the person who keeps everyone behaving, right? I mean, like, that's my whole deal. I don't want to be remembered as a group that misbehaves. So
this is the JJ Redick podcast is essentially Tony Snell in this situation. So you went to fly the process to boo Tony Snell or Malcolm Brogdon or whoever it was.
But we announced we were going to do that. There was no sneak attack there. It was very clear what we were going to do. I'm saying I'm not heckling. I have a great respect for his podcasting and the live pod. We have 20 tickets that we came into this sold out show. And I don't know if we just charge more and have that go to charity. I say $100 a ticket and I'll buy everyone a drink, and the money will all go to another charity, perhaps one of our charities. I don't know. Is it a raffle? Is it a contest? What do we do with the tickets? And I
feel like upselling JJ's tickets is maybe not the right move, even if we say it's for charity.
Well, it would be for charity.
Well, not according to Brian Colangelo. We don't know.
Oh, right.
We don't know if we're giving the money to charity. Brian does.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I think just tweet at Spike. I feel like there's not that many people that are going to want to go to this. So I think whoever wants to go probably could.
Let me say, there are going to be a ton of people who want to go. I've already heard from several of them. Truth be told, Joe and I discussed, fans of Philly, buying all of the tickets and doing a bus trip. But we didn't do it. We're not doing it. So 20 tickets. See you soon, JJ. No heckling. Would never heckle. Just want to watch the show. Kornblau & Kornblau is the official law firm of the process. Before we get to the AMA, we love Adam Kornblau. Got a great email from about Kornblau. I'm in the military stationed overseas, and I own a house in the States that I'm trying to sell. I received an offer from an investor to purchase the property in terms that seem sketchy to me at best. I emailed Kornblau and Kasabi outlining my dilemma. Kornblau emailed me back very quickly, asked for my number. I explained I couldn't talk on the phone because it's cost prohibitive to me. In less than a day, I had emails from both of them telling me in no uncertain terms that I should not take the deal because of all the problems with it. I'm currently waiting for an official offer so I can respond to them that after consulting with my attorney, I've decided to decline the offer. Even though he's not technically my attorney, as the official lawyer of the process, he is a little bit my attorney. And I think dropping the term my attorney will intimidate them a little bit. I fully appreciate both of them helping some random Sixers fan, emailing them about an issue when they have no financial incentive to assist me. It's great, right?
I just generally like the term a little bit my attorney. I think that is about as much respect as our country's law deserves.
Kornblau & Kornblau, the official law firm of the process, what they mostly handle, and they have for 40 years, is personal injury, specifically medical malpractice. But the important thing to know that I say all the time is you call these personal injury law firms, and they're mostly just referral forms, but not Kornblau. As you can see, this guy reaches out to Kornblau & Kornblau and just gets Kornblau. You want somebody who you can really trust, and our people are people that you can trust. We are a one-stop shop. You don't know what personal injury attorney to go to. Kornblau. He's the guy you go to. If you get into an accident, any sort of accident, don't be a hero. You're hurt. If it's somebody else's fault, Kornblau will do it for you. This is a very involved process that you need somebody good for. Think you have a case, give them a call or shoot them an email. It doesn't cost you anything. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam, or email Kornblau at kornblauandkornblau.com. Kornblau & Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Are you ready for our AMA? I asked on Twitter, and we got a lot of good questions, basketball, non-basketball, which is what AMA should be. You prepared?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Danny Green's Instagram. He got married. He just posted the pictures last night.
Oh, wow. Danny Green, a late marrier like me. I didn't get married till I was like 38, 37, something like that. So congrats, Danny.
Both wearing white. I think that's a nice move.
Yeah. Oh, boy. It seems like a Danny move too, right? Like if you would guess, that would have been the move, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. What a guy.
All right. Ask me anything time. This comes from Jay Money. Can we talk about number of poops per day? I poop once in the morning after exercise and protein, but then another poop after coffee. I also take a tablespoon of fiber per day to help with regularity. There's no better routine for me. Heavy carbs screw it up. How many for you per day?
I'd say usually just the one, but or I would say, I guess the honest answer is probably like two in the morning situation. I've had stomach issues over the years that were made worse over the pandemic. I think anxiety induced.
Oh, sure.
And especially when it came to like driving and stuff. And so I've gotten those pretty under control. And so now it's like about once a day. Yeah, I'm pretty regular. I would say. Proud to announce.
I am. I would say twice in the morning as well, with an occasional evening. Like that's what I would say that I am. Twice in the morning, like once pre-coffee, once after running coffee, and then the occasional at night, it seems. So this comes from Joe Wolf. Do players care about national TV / Christmas games? Perhaps it might be good motivation for them after getting the #1 seed that they're not respected as a top team. Of course, the Sixers not playing in a Christmas game. My opinion is that it's probably twofold. One, it's probably nice to not play on Christmas. But two, I think they like the, what's it called? They like the honor of being recognized at a top team without having to do it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I don't think the Sixers should be allowed to be shown on national television. I think it should be restricted. I think they should
NBA TV would be okay, though. Not even that.
No. Because the real sickos should be able to watch it on League Pass. And when it's on, which is ridiculous, obviously we've talked about this, but ridiculous that you can't watch NBA TV on League Pass. It's insane. Yeah, they should have to play in the dark. Like the lights shouldn't be on. Fans shouldn't be allowed in. Play in like a warehouse with like shelving units like around the court. It should be restricted, more restricted.
More restricted. Comes from Steve. If you had unlimited cheese pizza, like you could snap your fingers and a free 6.5 out of 10 level pizza appears, how often would you eat it? When does the cost of health / not being in the mood overtake the convenience / price factor? Other variables, not too greasy and New York style.
Once a week, probably. Papa Lactate do once a week.
My thing is that well, first of all, I don't eat dairy, but if I did, the DoorDash or whatever, or Grubhub or whichever one you use, or calling and ordering, whichever one is best for the restaurant, makes it so easy that it's almost like just snapping your fingers and getting one. And it's not like a pizza's expensive, right? Pizza's $10, $12. And I don't do it that often. So I think once a week is I think I would probably go heavy in the beginning, a ton of pizza in the beginning. And then I think once a week would probably be more than I would actually do it. My opinion. This might be,
I do Chow Now because they don't take a percentage of the restaurant clip. It's like a monthly service. It's like $100 for the restaurant service.
Do you pay a fee, or does the restaurant? How does it work? How do they make money?
Well, I think they make. How does Chow Now make money?
Yeah, I
think it's not a fee from each order. I think it's just like a monthly fee from the restaurant to opt into it. Got it. Where the other stuff takes like a 20% or 30%, which is ridiculous.
Chow Now, if that's what it's called.
That's what I try to use if
they're on it. Yeah, I'll check. This comes from Mr. Hall, an actual Sixers question. Ideally, who do you keep if you had to keep one? Who would you keep in the rotation? Shake Milton or Furkan Korkmaz? Who would you say has more upside? It's interesting that this is actually I had to think about this when I read it, and I still am not sure of the answer.
No, I think it's probably even. I think Korkmaz has gotten better as a defender, as I repeat from time to time, and I don't think Shake has really improved much as a defender. He's probably like around league average, just because of length. As a shooter, Korkmaz is better off the catch. Shake is probably better off the dribble. Shake runs a better pick and roll, but Korkmaz is probably an easier catch and shoot guy. You can just sort of place there and run through screens and stuff. I think it's probably even. I honestly think it's upside wise. Maybe Korkmaz. No, Shake probably has more upside. Shake has more upside in a role that matters. Now that you have Maxey taking a step forward, and whatever we get in the Ben trade, you might not need it as much. So Shake kind of feels like the odd man out, and maybe a guy that would get paired with Ben in a Ben trade to go elsewhere to make the salaries work and whatever, and as a little sweetener to get whatever they need. because him and Ben fit so nicely together. But so I'd probably divorced from context, I would probably say Shake by a little, but it's really close.
I would take Furkan. I would. I just think like it's probably, I love Shake. I really do, probably more than I should, but I think he's probably easier to replace than Furk is at their top level. Like, I think there's just so many guys, you brought him up last time, like Mike, like the Mike James thing, that you can just give the ball to and say dribble and shoot at a reasonable level, even though we haven't had one in 10 years, than a guy with a high quick release like Furk, and like a sort of like an unconscious shooter like that. I don't know. I think I would probably take Furk if I had to take one.
I think the difference in between Shake and those guys is just size, and he's not going to get targeted on defense because he's long and can hang there. Whereas Korkmaz is still pretty slow-footed, and I honestly think like because they see him and he like is slow and he looks the way he does, I think teams still want to come after Korkmaz because it's like I'm get me a switch on that fucking guy.
Right.
So yeah, I think I don't necessarily agree that the skill set is more replaceable. Like big ball handler that can operate the pick and roll and shoot is still pretty valuable. And there's plenty of catch and shoot guys. Korkmaz having a high release and being pretty tall is a big deal, but it's close. I'm glad it's close. Both guys are very useful players. And Shake had a weird season. I think we maybe write him off a little too quickly because it's like this is his first year being like a real contributor for the full season, and he struggled. He struggled at times, but I think he had some success. Man, he's barking a lot. Well, I believe in Shake. I believe in Shake, and I believe in him in having a more consistent season this year.
So thanks to everyone who reached out after I mentioned my Rebel problem last time. Everybody who suggested like doggy doors to doggy daycare to just keep at it, to let them hold it, to everyone, to want a vet reached out about like a drug cocktail I could give him. You can listen to him now as he's having a hard time barking because he's barked so much over the last week. He's ruined his voice, his dog voice. I just like, Rebel, please just fucking chill out. There's not even anybody here. I don't even know what the fuck he's barking at. It's just unbelievable. I love him so much. I gotta say, I just want to couch it with, I would take a bullet for that dog. I would take several bullets for the dog. He means the world to me. I wish you would just fucking chill out though. Anyway, how do people have kids? Like, I don't even know how that works. This comes from Brendan. Of any current or former Sixer, whose advice would you take on crypto/NFT investment? Note, I'm currently following Jonah Bolden. Jonah Bolden, by the way, has become a full-on crypto guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Almost looks like he could be scamming people. Like just, I'm not saying he is, but that's the way his social media looks like.
I didn't know that. That's funny. That's a fun arc. I wouldn't take anyone's advice.
No one. Of any of them, nobody. Okay.
No.
Final sponsor of the pod. Well, actually, we have Kinetic too. I'll talk about both. First of all, Kinetic skateboarding.
Because there's just no way to talk about it that doesn't make you sound like, all right, bro.
A douchebag.
Like, just like I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah. Especially like, boy, the funny part to me about
which crypto, I obviously feel about regular finance people too.
Yes.
So it's not like it's universally like I just get it. That's fine.
It's the people that have like NFT and I'm not making judgment. Like do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. It's all made up, but fine. Everything's made up, right? So, but like, why can't you just invest in like Bitcoin without like putting it in your Twitter bio? Like it's like, would you put in your Twitter bio like money? Like it's fucking. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not going to change everything. It's just like fucking. Yeah. It's just more shit for super rich people. Everybody thinks it like levels the playing field. It's not going to level the playing field. Everything makes rich people richer. That's what happens. It's not going to level the playing field. I
generally agree. I'm going to put $50 in my Twitter bio. I'm $50 bills. That's what I'm about. Just like that's my specific thing.
Wait, when I was bidding on, remember when Daryl Morey was like auctioning off his like fucking tweets? There was one. He was doing it for charity, but you had to bid in Ethereum, which is a cryptocurrency. So I bought $50 worth of Ethereum, and I can't get it out. Like I don't know how to get it out. Like I bought it in MetaMask, and now I can't even get into it anymore, and I can't get. So it's just $50 like in crypto land. It's just ridiculous. LL Pavorsky, I don't know if he takes Bitcoin. What do you think? And then I'll talk about Kinetic. Do you think LL takes Bitcoin?
I would assume no.
LL Pavorsky Jewelers, the official jeweler of the process. Our first sponsor was LL Pavorsky, just a genuine man who set us on this $1 million ride that we've had over the last several years. 224 or 225, writes Ricky Sanchez listeners, have purchased engagement rings from LL Pavorsky. TJ Fiorillo, who helped me buy my house up here in North Jersey, was number like 180 something. Just got married yesterday, so congratulations to TJ. We love, and the Cabana sale still goes on. Save up to 75% off. Tons of jewelry from LL Pavorsky Jewelers. Always supports our charities, Providence Animal Center and Coded by Kids. Love LL. And you're gonna when you go to buy from him, you go to a lot of jewelry stores. There's a lot of pressure, like they're right on you. LL, not really. Just him. Going to treat you the right way. No matter how much you're there to spend, is going to treat you the right way. You can't go to anybody else. 215-627-2252. Lee at llpavorsky.com. Tweeted him at LL Pavorsky. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
Buy a crypto diamond ring.
And Kinetic Skateboarding, who we love. I moved further away from Kinetic, so my trips down there will be less frequent, but it means I'll order more online, more hoodies. Like I have a whole fucking closet full of hoodies. Love hoodies. Love Kinetic hoodies. Anything, skateboarding, snowboarding, even just gear, sneakers, all that kind of stuff. Promo code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. From Casey, what is the best trade package for Tobias? Most realistic? Mine would be an even money swap for 2 to 3 role players. I think is your best case scenario. Tradable contracts. I think is Tobias.
I think if you think about it on a tradable contract level and be like, hey, that's we'll get somebody that we can trade later and package together later, whatever. Then maybe, but like we don't like necessarily need more role players. Like the Sixers, they are currently waiting on a Ben trade. But let's say the Ben trade is a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
Seth, Danny, Tobias, Ben trade. Joel, Maxey, Matisse, Drummond, Niang, Korkmaz, Shake, Isaiah Joe, B-Ball Paul. That's 13 people. And that's not putting in Jaden Springer, who I don't think will play major minutes this year. Grant Riller, who should play a little bit. Come on.
Oh, come on.
He's great. I love him. But that's a lot of guys. Like, and if you start trading, if Ben is traded for like multiple guys in some things I've been dabbling around on various trade machines, then it's even deeper. And I just don't think that they need more depth. Like I want to give Isaiah Joe a shot because he is such a volume shooter. I want to give B-Ball Paul a shot because he is excellent and makes stuff happen. And those other guys need to play. So I don't know that I necessarily would feel like anything is gained by Tobias being traded for. I mean, like Buddy Hield and Corey Joseph or something. He's not there anymore, but like
would you rather have, just for shits and giggles, like obviously it's impossible, would you rather have Tobias or Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker?
On this team right now?
Yeah.
Tobias.
Oh, come on. Really?
They just have other guys that like I don't think that like
they don't have one guy that does what PJ Tucker does. Or they don't have one guy that does what Eric Gordon does.
Eric Gordon is frequently injured, and I think Danny gives you a lot of what Eric Gordon gives you and is generally worse at it, or at least less volatile at it, which is weird to say about Danny. But like Korkmaz can give, like they have Eric Gordon right at this point in his career is like just a volume shooter that you don't really want doing a ton of stuff with the ball in his hands. Not like he has like a ton of vision. He's just sort of like launching. PJ's interesting. Like, is
But
he
But I'd rather
helpful
have
for
Eric
sure?
Gordon. I'd rather have Eric Gordon launching than like Tobias Harris dribbling. Is like, I guess, my point.
I just think that as far as like this team needs some creation, as we've talked about, and Tobias does give you some of that, and stable defense, and like, you know, in a tenuous situation that Joel doesn't seem like. Joel's not Dame. Joel's not Steph. Like, Tobias does give you a lot of the player leadership stuff that is more unquantifiable. Hasn't led to anything, but it also, I think, in a season like this, like, there's something about, they had a really good time last year. It seemed like things were going well. It stopped going well, but like this year is also going to be another weird year, and Tobias seems like a positive influence there. I'm
just sick of, personally, like, making pretend everybody like being a good guy is like, I just want somebody to fucking play basketball. And like, I in 2021 and 2022, and like, you know, Tobias hanging onto the ball and shooting 2.5 threes a game for fucking $36 million
like,
is
absolutely.
I'd rather have another Danny than Tobias. I'd rather have two Dannies.
No,
I'd rather have a Danny and another.
I think you're reading into the playoffs too much. He had a great season last year. We were all
like, what is it gonna? What's it gonna like? What's it gonna end up with? It's just like I
think context matters. I think if Ben is removed for, I mean, Dame. Let's just keep saying Dame until it happens.
Yeah.
Then Tobias gets to play the power forward and can be a little bit more the way he is, and not expecting him to be these other things. But he's a guy that can, like, he's been helpful. He was helpful last year. I started off last year very anti-Tobias. He had a very good season. He tightened up everything. Did he resort back to the stuff that he was doing before? Yeah, too much for sure. But I think solving that issue with some other fixes could help. And he's just better. He's just better than Eric Gordon. He's just a better player. Like, he's better than those guys.
I don't want Tobias Harris in the playoffs. Like, I have no desire to watch him fucking dribble and shoot 19 footers. I just like, I don't. All right. 2 more quick ones, because I know you got to go. I think they're easy ones. One from Tom: what went wrong with the Phillies? Now, they did win last night, but I know this is a situation for you, Mike.
They're the Phillies, man. That's what they fucking do. When was the last time they had a winning record in August? Like, this is what they do. They always surprise. They was always like a little bit like, could it be this year? And Dave Reuter's getting wild card tickets and feeling the frenzy. And there's somebody to be excited about. I love Gene. Harper's hitting, but then I love Ranger Suarez. He's maybe my favorite athlete in Philadelphia history. Me and Sixers Adam only tweet about Ranger Suarez, or text each other about Ranger Suarez. But this is what they do. Like, they are bad at developing their own players. And Joe Girardi just refuses to, like, it's a similar thing, but like refuses to give at bats to the young guys with potential and resorts to like the guys that are veterans. It's just like, they're not good enough. Like, they're simply not good enough. They're not a disciplined team. They didn't have enough pitching. The moves they made at the deadline were moves that someone would make in a, like, okay, we'll just like cut corners here and there. Like, we're so close, but they're not that close. They weren't that close. They were games out. They had a nice little run there, and it's fun when Citizens Bank Park is packed, but they're simply not a good enough team, and they continue to fail for now 10 years.
As far as like the young players, it's totally obvious that that's it. And the biggest problem, like, you know, to your point about Girardi not playing the young players, is like all the Phillies young players are always like fake good. It's like we treat them like they're a big deal, but they're never a big deal. And like watching the Yankees, I get up here, I start watching them. Like, half the teams got COVID, so they bring up this guy Luis Gil. Like, they bring up guys. It's like the guy hasn't given up a run in 3 starts. Even there are guys that are just rotting away in the minors are better prospects than the Phillies have.
Yeah, Phillies have a bad farm system, and for them to ruin Spencer Howard by like yo-yoing him back and forth from the bullpen to the rotation to the minor leagues to the major leagues, like just everything, and then being like, okay, now we got rid of him for like a 4th or 5th starter, and he's like so happy to be out of here. It's just like it's a bad organization. They're a bad organization.
And final thing from Bill O'Neill, world champion bowler Bill O'Neill will might be using his finger cots while voting in the upcoming recall election.
Love those finger cots. I got to pack some. That's a good reminder, Bill O'Neill. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Gavin Newsom, I will be voting no on the recall, even though Gavin Newsom is a spindly little shit. But the other options are far, far, far worse. So I will happily be voting no and then working to elect someone else in a year after they spent like untold millions of dollars in this stupid recall election. So yeah, voting no on the recall.
So thanks to everyone who gave us AMA questions. We have more. We'll sort of like work these in for the rest of the off season. So safe flight, Mike. We'll talk to you mid this week. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.